I've been raspy.
Oh no!
Hello and good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. We are the Real Estate Lab, and we are popping into your feed today to talk to you about something we hear all day, every day. People are moving to Austin from other states, other cities, and we're getting those questions. What do I need to do? What are some tips and tricks to help me along my way? So that's the topic today. Tips on moving cities, states. We have them for you. We are dealing with this all the time. So without further ado, we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Liberty Walker with Realty Austin, and this gentleman over here is
JJ Tolentino with the Next Level Property Group at KW, and I'm excited to talk about this because when we as realtors initially talk to somebody moving here, we go through these conversations and we ask what's most important, and then we consult from there. So let's let this gentleman introduce himself.
I like being at the bottom because I can just point up and see. I don't have to figure out which direction I'm supposed to point. Anyway, hey everybody, I'm Ian of Austin. Thank you for joining in today. Don't forget we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all that sort of stuff. But today is going to be a lot of fun. I've got 50 bullet points of things that you need to know if you're thinking about moving states. It doesn't even matter if you're leaving Austin and going somewhere else, or if you're moving from Florida to California. I don't know why you would do that. Maybe you would do that. But the point is, these are just tips to think about whenever you consider moving. Liberty.
Yes. So today, more than usual, people are having the freedom of being able to work from home, giving them the ability to kind of live where they'd like to live. They're not going into the office every day. So we're seeing as realtors, a lot of people wanting to move to Austin because why not? It's like the most fun, best city of Texas, right?
I mean, I agree, but
they're asking, yeah, can I get hook 'em horns. So people are asking us, is this a good city to live in? And we're like, yeah, sure, come on down. So when they're moving here, what do you guys tell them about how to move here? What are some tips?
JJ, you go first.
I just talked to somebody asking a bunch of questions, and they said it themselves. They go online. You could look at maps, but they want to hear things from a local. I really put it on them. You know, there's a few areas of life, right? Like, do you want to be somewhere like, is it a church or is something that more mindful for you? Is it a gym? Is it health concerns, or, you know, what's going on in your personal life? Are you looking for certain connections? Is it job stuff? Where is your office at is a big question I typically ask. Like, where's the office? Where's your wife's office or whatever? Or any business connections you're looking to make. And the latter part is the money part. And then we put all that together and start picking your, Northwest works out for this.
Well, all that. I want to pick apart where you brought up commute, because it's such a big thing, especially when you're moving to a new place and maybe you're moving for a job and you're like, oh, I'm going to work downtown. As the crow flies, though, I'm seeing some really cool homes up around the lake, on the other side of the lake. Can I live there?
Is that lake? What lake are you talking about for people that haven't been here?
Yeah, I'm talking about, so we have Lago Vista. Like, I wish I had a map. Here's a.
That's going to get attention on paper very quickly because of the prices too. Yes.
It is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very
Lake
good.
Travis.
So, I mean,
Lago Vista and Lake Travis.
yes. And beautiful homes. Some of those homes are at a lower price point, which
Definitely.
of course, who doesn't love that? Newer homes at a lower price point.
And
so
lake
we're
rats,
looking at
you know,
homes.
they love their lake life.
And who doesn't love the lake life, really? But if you're going to be commuting every day downtown, what's that going to look like, Ian?
Well, okay. I mean, I have a billion things to say. The other thing about particularly that area of Lago Vista, their internet there is horrible.
Oh my gosh, that's on my list.
Like, so you can't work remote. You can't say I'm going to work remote and then I'm going to pay $250,000 for a house and live on the lake and then expect it to work.
Curious, how do you know that?
Right. This is
How do I
step
know
2
that?
for me because
lots of reasons. Because I was just out there last weekend with my new puppy and my new origami kayak. That's why.
Oh, I saw that.
So not great reception. You have to check internet in the area that you're going before you pull the trigger on making an offer and getting down there. Because especially in Texas, Smithville's great, but do they have fiber? Do you need fiber to do your job?
They don't know how to spell fiber. Is that Matt? Is that me? Can I say that? No, it's the thing is, it just hasn't hit that region yet. Like people are used to a certain way of life, way of living, and there might be a handful of people that care about that, but the general majority doesn't yet, is what my experience has been.
And I asked you that question to make a couple points. When you're really wanting to know the areas, Ian being a true local that is super adventurous around the greater Austin area, he would know. And I would also say super busy buyer agents that are actively crawling all over the city. A little different from a listing agent because it's you kind of sit there. They know a lot. They know a lot.
Mean, yesterday I was in Liberty Hill. I was off Brody. I think I did the tour of Texas, you guys. So if you have any questions about commute times, I'm living it. Trust, I'm your new Waze. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I come home and I'm like, man, I went to Manor, I went to Pflugerville, I went to Austin and Buda all in one day. Holy moly.
I want to share this with people, and every once in a while I'll pull up the map when I'm talking to clients, right? I spend a lot of time, we all spend a lot of time exploring the Austin area because we're busy. We need to show houses. We need to go to different title companies for closing, and we need to eat along the way. And so we are checking out all of these places. And then in our free time, we don't just sit in the house. At least I hope not. Y'all don't sit in the house, do you?
Only for this podcast.
All right. Okay. I was like, wait, what? This is too much of a mobile job for that to take place.
That's so true. And we know it, Ian, because we see you every Friday out there working from coffee shops. He knows his internet.
I have a whole category of internet, bad internet, good internet for different places across Austin. Yeah, it's bad and good. Okay.
And when you guys are working with realtors and you're relocating to a new city, ask your realtor about other vendors that you might not think of, like lawn care. You can ask your neighbors too, your new neighbors. Ask them who they go to for lawn care, pest control. 9 times out of 10, they're going to know. If you need tree trimming, they've had it done. So they might know.
You end up, there are a lot of Facebook groups out there for neighborhoods themselves or HOA community groups, right? So if you are targeting a neighborhood, let's say, I'm going to use an example, Carmel in Pflugerville is a popular one because all three, the elementary, the middle, and the high school are all right next to the houses, right? So people are like, oh, I want that area. Okay, great. Well, there's already a Facebook group there for Carmel. So if you want to learn about the area and meet people in the area, don't go to the builder. No.
Yeah.
Talk to a realtor, but join these groups and talk to the people that live there too. They might not let you join because you should be a resident, but there are also other moving to Austin groups and that sort of thing. But really dig into what you can.
It just hit me how our job is so the consulting that goes in, because we work with so many people that move and then we follow back up with them and we're like, how'd everything go? And people approach us. They might say, hey, I just moved into that neighborhood. You know what was really helpful? Nextdoor. That was a cool app. And then you just pass that message along. You're like this professional, like mover consultant that blends in with like helping you find your connects here and there.
Let me ask you guys this question. I'll take it back a little bit during the offer phase. People are making offers coming here. They're not in town. So maybe they're doing virtual tours. They don't have their feet on the ground to actually look at the properties. So do you tell your clients to fly down during the option period?
By that time, they've already missed the house, or at least that's what it was in the last, 8 months, right? Like if you want a house, then you have to go for it and you may not have time. Now, it's one thing if you want to come down and spend 3 weeks and just shop and shop and shop. That's another opportunity. But no, if somebody is seriously interested in a house, I have not said come here, because usually they have to, you know, your option period is
these days
5 days.
Yeah,
you gotta be quick.
How do you make your points though when they're like, is it good?
Well, so I do this. So that's my strategy, right? Like, so I'll sit on a video call with people. I'll go over the maps. I'll go over the areas, talk through them, understand their life as much as I can, and then say, I think these will work and here's why, and then deploy a strategy from there.
Yeah, I like Zoom. When lockdown occurred, I was on Zoom more than just like everybody else. But I realized that I could do the Google Map thing and just make your talking points. You just point and and it really depends on what that buyer's looking for. Like this particular person I was talking to the other day, she's asking about diversity, honestly, and homeless population, security, what's safe. And I have to calculate in my head, based on my experience and what I've seen, my suggestions, right? Because a lot of this comes with experience and just what you know about certain neighborhoods that fit what they're talking about.
I like this. John S. said he moved from to Austin from Seattle. People told us how wonderful the weather is. How many of y'all have heard that? You've heard that, right? I know you've heard that.
People like y'all, it's sunny.
Yeah, I never heard that before. From October through April, no one mentioned how stinky hot it is here in the summers like today. It's a little, it's fine. Like if you can't handle this, I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's not that effective.
Yeah, I mean,
this is
everyone has different tolerance levels, John, and I think that you'll find the longer you stay, the more tolerant you will become of the heat. But stay hydrated, because that heat, it's a killer.
Well, and the thing is, if it's not like a rainy season, it's not as humid as, let's say, a Houston or an Orlando, right? So if you end up going to Orlando, you're like, oh my, it's so hot, and you go search for some shade, doesn't matter. It does not change the temperature at all. At least in Austin, if you're in the sun, let's say you want to go kayaking at 11 in the morning, I don't know why you would do that. It's going to burn your neck. Well, you put on a hat, neck's fine. Like you're fine.
Right.
The shade works in Texas most of the time.
So let me throw this out there for you guys, because I've had this question come up and I'm wondering what you guys think. So in these contracts that you guys are seeing, are you seeing appliances convey, like refrigerators and stuff like that? People are moving cities. Should they leave their refrigerator and then ask for the new one?
I love this.
Can you be competitive? Let's talk about fridges. Ian, what do you think?
Me? Okay. First thing is, it's rare. It's fairly rare that you're going to get a refrigerator in the state of Texas when you buy a new house today, especially with all the backlogs and things like that. However, that doesn't mean it's worth carrying your refrigerator from Utah, right? Because like you think about what you're actually moving. If you're moving a 5-bedroom house, fine, you know, all that's going to fit in the truck. But if you're like, I've got one room and a refrigerator, it's probably easier for you to just sell that thing than to deal with having to get a larger moving truck for it, because you can get a refrigerator on Facebook Marketplace for $300 and it's a nice double French door, Samsung, decent last year model. Like, yeah. But that is a big shell shock for people, is they don't get that. Yeah. Or washer and dryer.
Pianos. How many pianos are left behind because of the difficulty of moving them, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything large like that, right? Hot tubs is that's another really big one. Like, you know what? That hot tub was $4,000. It's going to cost me $2,000 to move it here. Not worth it. I could upgrade to the new model anyway, you know, double the jets.
I would think some buyers may not want a hot tub.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right.
But yeah,
that's the other thing. If you buy a house and it's sitting in the yard, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot.
Oh, yeah.
True.
So,
well, what are some other things? Yeah.
I was going to say, here's one that gets people. People don't understand. People hear taxes are a lot everywhere. Oh, I heard they're worse in Texas. But what they don't understand is property taxes change per neighborhood in Texas. Period.
Yeah.
So what you think you know when you're looking at the sales price, I want to buy a house for $350. Great. How much is your monthly payment going to be? I don't know, but that's what I want to pay for the house. Unless you're paying cash, you don't know.
I hit people with the some people come from states with self-employment tax, and I'm like, well, I mean, not self-employment tax. We have self-employment tax. Yes. State income tax.
State income tax.
We're getting into tax strategy.
Another thing.
Yes.
Real estate transfer tax. Real estate sales tax. Texas is one of 13 states that doesn't charge you to sell or buy your house an extra 1% tax. Huge.
Yeah. I mean, the first wave, honestly, I've always thought, as cool as Austin is, the main thing was financial. I always thought it was like so cool for its value, and just everything was, it worked. I remember, I feel like an old person. I remember in the late 2000s when the median price point was in the 200s, and that blew my mind. You look around the nation and you're like, this cool city's in the 200s?
Yeah.
So, not like that anymore, but it's still cool. It's just a different price point. But yeah, definitely part of the move is understanding state to state, city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, property taxes, state income tax, your finances. You know, I think as realtors, we're not tax strategists, but we have to talk you through some of this stuff because we hear some complaints, and you're like, hold up, let's look at this whole thing.
How many people have you worked with, or just, kind of a random guess, how many people have you worked with that are like, no, I like to cook, I need a gas oven?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have to know what
they're going to be disappointed when they can't get that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing. I wouldn't want to live in where there wasn't any gas. I love cooking on gas. And there are some whole neighborhoods here that are wired for electric only.
Yep.
Yeah. And lifestyle wise, more often I get the neighborhood with trails, or what's the neighborhood like, or the schools, or what's lifestyle like. We essentially sell the lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, that's
we're plugging all these things in.
You just explain what it's like, and people just gravitate toward here.
We're meeting these people. They're coming to us, and they're like, "Hey, is this going to work?" And I'm coming from my mindset. I have to really play out some different scenarios for them so that they could get a good idea about the lay of the land. How often do you go to the grocery store? Do you want to walk to get coffee? These are some of the things I have to ask, because it could really dictate where you are in the city. Even if you're looking at a map, like Montopolis on the east side, if you want to bike, it's going to take you 15 minutes just to get around, because there's not a cut through. So as the crow flies, it looks super close. Like you could walk to downtown, but I wouldn't want to walk.
Walkability, what's the shopping like in the area? I honestly think that's what tires me out. The job itself, kind of easy. You click on some stuff, you talk, you drive around, you open doors. But it's the let me get in your head, understand your lifestyle, reinterpret that to put everything I have that I know and see what best fits for you. And you do that with a few to several clients a day. And at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I was in a lot of people's lifestyles today and I'm tired.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it fun, right? Being able to empathize with people. Otherwise, why would we want to work with people so much? Right? Like that is the fun of it. Like, oh man, yeah, I could see that. You know what? This would be great for you because so like bicycles, that's a big one you brought up, Liberty. There are a lot of neighborhoods that don't have bike lanes, let alone sidewalks, let alone a curb that you can park on, for crying out loud. Like some of these you have to park in your own garage, and you won't know that if you're used to being in a state where there's no HOAs, park wherever the heck you want. But that's a big change here. There are a lot of HOAs here, and there are a lot of varying neighborhoods construction types, right? So a single family condo, again, that has no sidewalks, no walking paths or anything like that, might look good on paper at $300,000, but your HOA is $500 a month and you can't park anywhere. What?
What do you tell people when they're like, what's the best deal? Like, what's a hot area?
Yeah.
I mean, like, close your eyes and throw a dart at the map, my friend.
And I'll explain why it's hot.
I truly believe that you always fall into you're moving because of love or money. And it could also be the love of money. I've seen that come up before, but it's love or money, right? Whether it's your family, whether it's a job, whether it's the way it makes you feel to be here, and you're loving yourself by changing your lifestyle, your quality of life, doesn't matter, love or money. So whichever
one. Best deal for love and best deal for money.
There you go. Okay. Best deal for money. Ooh, it's probably going to be a suburb that has a super low tax rate, but is right on the border of Austin and will continue to grow from the spillover of Austin's incredible growth.
Yep. It's like this wave. I feel like it's this tidal wave and it's like pushing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring up one of the
What's a love area?
I mean,
what's a love area?
The moment you said that, I just think of like Duval, like downtown, but I think that's synonymous with money.
People do love like that life. Like
they do.
Can I get to downtown? Or maybe because that's my friend. I don't know.
I mean, how much that cold brew is just tastes so much better when you can just walk across the street and get it. I don't know.
The nitro cold brew across the street is a key.
Dude, walkability is life, man.
It's also the weirdness, right? A lot of people relocate here because they hear it's a cool culture, and then there's all these swimming holes and all these interesting people with such a variety of experience. Well, do you really get that in Hutto? Right? Is it the same?
I mean, it's a different. I mean, Hutto, like, don't pick on Hutto because that
no,
cute little town area.
No, I mean that's the breaking point though. There's like, I feel like it's breaking up into dense living versus suburbs. Like, are we here or here?
But people don't do that in their head. They're like, I'm moving to Austin. Why? Because my job's moving to Austin. It's like, okay, well, there's so much more to it than that. That's great. Yeah. But what do you do when you leave your house? If you don't leave your house, you don't need a yard. Great. Do you care about appreciation of your home? Do you care about how quickly you can get to your next place? Do you care about if there's an apocalypse?
I think Hutto's that fringe you're talking about. The money kind of like appreciation wave. I think Hutto's kind of, or you think it's more further out like Taylor?
Man, I'm working on a deal for Thrall right now. So whatever, I do what I do.
All of the outer
really far for
greater Austin areas.
Never been here before.
And I want to remind the people too that are relocating for a company. You please reach out to your HR department and see what kind of moving benefits they have, relocation benefits, because I've been hearing from some clients that they're having temporary housing covered, moving packages, and just like great benefits for a lot of these new companies.
You heard about Houston? Not that we care about Houston, but I heard that if you were moving to Houston, they'll actually, it's either Houston or San Antonio will reimburse you for all of your moving costs. Like the city will do it. was like, that's pretty interesting, because they wanted to attract more people with good jobs that'll pay them better taxes. You know,
Man,
the
that's
tax
quite
rate at 4%. You better attract people.
That's a good incentive.
Well, since we only have a handful of minutes left, can you guys think of just like some pearls of wisdom we can just leave our people with?
Tons. How do you get your license when you move here? What are the things that you need to set up? What are your emergency numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Information. Your information. Like, people still use those on the phone.
Step one.
And there's some people that come here and they need benefits of some variety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vets are a big one. Well, where are your Texas vet locations? Like, where are the hospitals, the VAs? You need to know that if you are planning to relocate. And this is anywhere, any state, right? You've got Temple, you have Killeen, you have Austin. Where else? You don't have that out in, I guess it's not too far from Del Valley, but you got to be able to know where that stuff is if you ever have to rush down there.
Explore your grocery stores, meet your neighbors when you're down here, when you move in.
I'd like to piggyback off of Ian's love or money and do both. Figure out how you get in between it. So whatever your job or your business connections are, live close to that. And money wise, you also are looking to make sure it's like the best deal, or you're looking for appreciation or whatever you plan to do. And then it's still your life. It's still whatever makes you happy, whether it be walkability or, school districts or the trail or a pool or the lake, and just work with your realtor, get in between it, and boom, love and money. You are a happy camper.
Speaking of camping, there's 70-something state parks in Texas, not just other parks, but state parks.
I thought you were going to say in Austin.
No, but not far. Day trips, right? So
they're around here.
Feel free to look at that sort of thing. If that's what you love.
Because
what was that?
I said get a toll tag and sign up for that so you can avoid paying some tolls.
That's part of factoring in it. Yeah, too. How do you get around this city and transportation and all that?
If you're moving to moving to the east side, you're going to pay some tolls. You might not know it yet, but you're going to pay some tolls. Lots of them.
So that's part of the cost of living. It all.
Yeah. How about the cost to turn your water on? People don't know that. They're like, wait, $200 just to turn it on?
Yep. The first weekend at my home, we didn't have gas because we didn't know that was an extra thing you had to turn on. We just thought it came with the house.
And it depends if you're getting a resale home versus a new build. Sometimes the builders, some of these places will have it on for you. You might be able to skate for another, 3 weeks without ever having to pay your electric bill. But if you're buying a resale home, somebody lived in that home and you're moving into it, you better believe they're going to turn it off as quickly as they can. They don't want to pay for you living there. And I'm sure there's a slow cutoff thing. But what if your closing was delayed 3 days and they already set it to cut off on Monday and you're moving in on Thursday? Right? If you're not watching that logistically, that can be a bummer. And it'll cost you twice as much to have them come out and turn it on, even though it was just turned off yesterday.
Sounds like Ian's had that happen a few times.
We deal with so much very frequently, and people don't know what we deal with.
Yeah, we get pulled in the middle of a lot of logistics.
Yeah. Service your AC unit when you arrive.
Oh yes, in Texas, like John says, if it's boiling out there, and
you want to make sure that does not go out. Yes.
And if you have and
what's your last words of wisdom?
Who do you call, and how do you know who to call? Like Liberty said earlier.
What's your words of wisdom, Liberty, to close it out?
My words of wisdom is, welcome to Texas, and bring with you what you must, your refrigerator or not. If you need one, you can order one. But if you have specific questions about moving to this city, call us. We would be more than happy to talk you through it and all of what your dreams are capable of. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We're the Real Estate Lab. Every Friday, you can tune in to see us, and we look forward to hearing from you. So we'll see you next time.
Later,
Thanks,
y'all.
everyone. Thanks for your questions. See ya.